Come here, let me show you how to do it right. Do A, B, C, and D. Wish that was the answer, guys, but it's not. We all have wildly different opinions on what is the best way to forge ahead in each of our lives' journeys. I didn't make the game. I'm just exposing you to the real estate insider secrets and all the rules of the game so that you can get the hacks to beat it. Welcome to the show, homies. Wouldn't you love to know exactly what questions to ask your realtor and your lender? Not just to understand the process, but knowing what to ask so you can get the absolute best options, the best deals available to you. Wouldn't you love to feel confident in the who, the when, and the what of all the questions you ask? Well, there's 328 episodes in the catalog to help you out with that. And here comes 329.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time home buyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time home buyers.
What is happening, my How to Buy a Homies? If you're not watching the video, I just did finger guns. It was awesome. I am your humble host and first-time home buyer coach. Tens of thousands of you out there been doing this whole thing since 2019. My name is David Sidoni, and we are going to dissect the story of a real-life home buying experience from a listener. They originally reached out to me and asked for some advice, and I'm going to tell you what happened and where they ended up. And hopefully you can take some lessons from this for your own home buying journey. Now, this listener originally reached out to howtobuyahome.com back in the middle of 2024. And now at the end of March, she just sent me an exciting update, and I had to share it with all of you. I had to share it because I actually told you all about all these buyers back in July. It was July 12th, 2024. Episode 244, Details Matter. That's where I dissected their questions, and I did some on-air coaching to help them with the best results. And today, I've got the super interesting follow-up and the unique happy ending to their story. So here's how this episode's going to work. JT is going to put a direct link in the show notes. You know what? No, JT, you're going to do this instead. Just play episode 244. All right, JT? Just drop it right in here. Okay, so you guys listen to this, you get the backstory, and then I'm going to share the dramatic conclusion. What are we, 8-9 months later? All right, JT, drop it. Homies, I got an email this morning, and that's why I'm recording this episode right now. Seriously, this email, it stopped me dead in my tracks, and I decided that this would be a great learning tool for all of the homies. Listen close, because there's actually kind of a quiz in this, so you can find out how much of a homie you actually are. Can you answer the questions from this listener as she asked them? I'll read you the email, and you guys just yell out your guesses. So this email comes to me from a homie who is actually selling their first place and then buying their next home. But the buying part is where all the questions are. So they're going to apply to all of you. So I'm going to read it. You just chime in out loud when you think you know the right responses. From the beginning, email starts. Hi, David. My name is... No, homies, I'm not telling you their name. This is anonymous. So again, hi, David. I'm so-and-so. I listen to your podcast like it's my religion. My husband and I are in our 30s. We live, I'll just say, in some county north of New York City, New York, and say that they've got some children. In 2019, we purchased a co-op for $175,000 and we put 20% down. We sold it for $240,000 last month with 5 days and multiple offers. We're going to be closing later this month with a nice profit. Well, in the meantime, we are bidding on homes in, let's just say, another county north of Manhattan, and we're bidding on homes based on the school districts. We have a great team. We've been pre-approved for $650,000 using only my husband's income and credit. We chose to have just him on the loan since my credit score is 720-ish, and I'm still paying down debt. I have about 18% credit usage I'm paying off. My husband has an over 800 credit score. We want to put 10% down, pay PMI, and have reserves left over. We're going to be getting close to $100,000 from this sale plus our savings. My husband makes $163,000 a year. Not included in the loan application, she works part-time, so that's $35,000 extra dollars, and his bonus is about $20,000 that's not included. So that means there's about $50,000 not included in the pre-approval, which is comforting. I guess I'm just nervous about the $5,000 a month payments. I'm terrified, but I know we can afford this. We currently pay $1,800 a month at our co-op. Can you just give me your opinion? We're in need of encouragement. We're pretty good with money and don't overspend. I greatly greatly value your expertise. I've attached a portion of our pre-approval, and we've always planned on getting a house. The co-op was our stepping stone. We plan on applying his yearly annual bonus and any tax refund to the principal within the next 2 years to try to get rid of the PMI. Eventually, we'll refinance when the time is right. Thank you, and you've been such an amazing resource. Keep it up. You're helping so many home buyers. And then she put a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet showed me some of the details. 7.125 mortgage interest rate showed that they had $13,000 a month in salary with only $830 in monthly debt. So with the sales price of $650,000 with 10% down, the new mortgage was going to be $5,495.33. It also showed me that they had a DTI of 41.21% for the housing debt. That's a different DTI. If you include everything, their full DTI, debt to income ratio, was 47.44%. Okay, now let's review the questions as I re-ask the question, and we'll check your answers against the advice that I gave. Now, let's see how much of the podcast you have taken in to hear how your answers compare with mine. Here's my response to that email I received just a few hours ago. It starts, #truthbomb. No, I cannot and should not give you my opinion. Oh, homies, did you see that coming? Here's the rest of my email. Why and how you buy a home takes real planning with a professional unicorn-style support team that knows everything about your goals, your wants, your dreams, your needs, your financial style, and so much more. I can't get that from you in the email you just sent me. It would be literally irresponsible of me to give you guidance without a much more thorough discussion of you and all the pieces of what you're trying to do. That's why on the podcast, I don't preach, here's a one-size-fits-all answer, everyone should do that. Instead, I educate, then advise you to go work with a trusted local unicorn team who can go deep into your full picture and give you the best guidance for this very complex decision that has lifelong ramifications, both financially and, more importantly, it's going to affect your quality of life. And as humans, we all have wildly different opinions on what is the best way to forge ahead in each of our lives' journeys. I continue in the email. There's so much more that a professional would need to know, even than this email you sent me. Even though it feels detailed, this is truly just the tip of the iceberg. The only general thought I could share is maybe the recent PMI episodes 198 and 216 to give you some guidance on possibly putting a smaller payment down and have a reserve account to deal with a high payment. But you and your unicorn lender would need to be the people that work together to look at all of your options. Truth and love, David Sidoni. There. Do you hate that response? Does that make you crazy? Are you just going, dude, your podcast says how to buy a home. Answer my damn question. How do I buy a home? I get it. There are people that hate that response. And if this question irks you, let's dig into your own thinking. I didn't make the game. I'm just exposing you to the real estate insider secrets and all the rules of the game so that you can get the hacks to beat it. And the rule is there is no one-size-fits-all answer, homies. That's it. Hands down, the most honest answer I can give. Let me give you just some of the examples of multiple different answers that I could have had for every question that came from that email. And I only have those with nothing that I know about them, just the one few paragraph email. And when I say multiple, I mean there are multiple answers to all these. I mean multiple, numerous, several. What I'm going to do today is just give you some of the answers without even knowing their complete life story up to where they are today getting ready to buy this home. And, also not understanding how this home fits into where they want to be physically, fiscally, philosophically in their future. That's what it takes to give a qualified answer to these questions. Okay, question number one. They said that they've been pre-approved for $650,000 with only their husband's income and credit. They chose to just have him on the loan because her credit score is at 720 and she's still paying down debt with about 18% of usage. And so they're using him because he's over 800. So question is this the best way to apply for their approval? The answer? It depends. I just can't answer that because I haven't personally asked them all the questions. So again, here are some, not all, just some of the thoughts that could be answers to that question. Okay, if your credit score is 720, have you explored the options to try to boost it to 760? Since we know that's the max credit score, anything above that is just extra and doesn't get you any better loan options. And 720 to 760 isn't too far. Maybe if you did that, then you could both be on the loan and maybe you get approved for a better loan. Now, one of the next questions we have on that is, could adjusting that timing for you to get the extra 40 points, is that going to work work with your options of when you want to buy the home. And now let's go even deeper, because again, everything has multiple different questions you have to ask. Is your score 720 because of that 18% usage, or are there other factors that we might be able to eliminate quickly and get your score from 720 to 760 just like that? And here's another option that I had just off the top of my head. Do you have plans for you to make money in the future? Because this is a crazy one, but if no one asked, you don't know about this. If you're planning to make money in the future, then maybe putting it in one person's name is a good idea, because there could be options for you on your own salary to buy an investment property under just your name without your hubby's new mortgage debt, because that debt is going to affect the new mortgage approval. But maybe you could get that on your own. And of course, that all depends on how you're going to file your taxes and other financial factors. But did you even realize this could be a way to secure your family's financial future? Well, if you didn't know it, I understand that, but I don't know if that's the right answer to give you because I don't know all the details. Okay, the next question. We're going to be getting close to about $100,000 with the equity in the sale plus our savings. My husband makes $163,000 a year. So what should we put down? Guess what the answer is? I don't know. It depends. Now, I did give her some very generous advice at the end of the email just to open up her mind to the options that she could and should discuss with a unicorn lending support team. Yes, a unicorn support team. Here's the difference. A basic lender, and when I say basic, I mean basic like the slang way. A basic lender, they take your numbers, they get you a loan approval, and a good rate. Fine. Basic. That's it. A unicorn lender takes all your information and works with you to form the best strategy for you and your goals that far exceed more than just the one piece of information they give you. You're approved for this much, rock on. So in order to figure out what you should put down for your down payment, here are just some of the questions that any professional guide would need to know to give you advice on what the correct down payment for you should be. First of all, do you understand the actual cost of PMI? Once you know that it's a small monthly cost, is it worth it to you to accept that small monthly cost so that you can have more immediate money in your savings account right after you close to protect yourself in the future? Is keeping more liquid cash than having a slightly higher payment more important to you and your security? Unicorn lender would definitely be asking everyone, have you done the math with all the multiple factors in the equation? Like, how much does the payment change when you change the rate from 5% to 10%? What's the monthly difference? If it's small, would you rather have a slightly higher payment but keep 5% in the bank? Now, in this case, that 650 something house, that's 5% of the down payment. That's $32,500. That's one other question. Here's another one. Are you expecting raises in the future? So perhaps the monthly payment won't hurt so much later on. And maybe money in the bank now is a better option than a lower payment for the lifetime of the loan, because you can have money in the bank now and have that money for safety. And then a few years from now, when you get a raise, well, then that payment isn't going to feel quite as tight as it does for the first few years. I tell everyone all the time, the hardest time that you're going to have making payments on your home is the first 3 to 5 years. Oh, and wait a minute. Didn't you say refinance? Well, if you do that, then the entire loan resets and you get a new lower payment. So then why does it matter how low the payment is now if it's only temporary? Or if it does matter, have you factored that in and said, we can handle this for a few years? Why not keep as much money in the bank now, deal with a higher payment, and then work the new plan when you refinance? Yes, you're going to have to do this all over again when you refinance, whole new plan. Oh, but wait a minute. In order for me to give you any of this advice and know that it's the right advice for you, oh, then I would have had to spoken to you for numerous times to understand you and not just, how much money you have, but to understand your monetary vibe, to understand your budget happy place, to understand your fiscal style and how that matches with your lifestyle. But I don't know that, so I can't answer this question. What I do know is that everyone has more options than they think they do because everyone's too busy looking for the one-size-fits-all answer. And I understand why you're doing that. In a world of uncertainty and in a process that is super overwhelming, the only thing you want to hear is, oh my gosh, first-time buyers, they totally get screwed. Come here, let me show you how to do it right. Do A, B, C, and D. Wish that was the answer, guys, but it's not. All right, buyers, next question. I'm just getting a little nervous about the $5,000 a month payments. I'm terrified, but I know that we can afford this. We currently pay $1,800 a month. Should we make such a steep jump in our monthly output? So the question is, can they afford it? Oh, gang, there are thousands and thousands of variables on this answer. That's my new way of saying it depends, so you don't throw your AirPods against the wall. Can they is not the question. They got an approval for the loan. Their debt to income ratio, even up to 47%, said that they could afford it. They can. The question is, should they? And that takes, I don't know, a billion more questions from the professionals. It's not just math. It's how the math fits in with the balance of their finances and their quality of life. It's different for everybody. Some people are willing to sacrifice today for stability and less stress in the future. We all live different lives. Some people would never save money in their 20s and 30s. They want to run around and travel and live their best life, while other people will totally stay home and eat ramen every single night if they understood that what they were doing was a sacrifice so they could retire when they're 45 years old and never have to work again. So the question is, an increase of, over, $3,500, is that much of an increase too much? Well, now I'm going to say it. It depends. One thing I can tell you is that way too many people just look at that higher payment and make their decision based purely on that. I say this with love, homies. That is a huge, big, fat, gigantor mistake. Okay, listen to this one, homies. Before you balk at a new rent payment that is $500 more, $1,000, $2,000, maybe even $3,000 more than your rent, please, homies, be sure that you understand the big extended math equation on the upside, including, and actually I'll use that phrase, including but not limited to things like tax benefits, a fixed payment for life versus a rising rent, understanding the full financial advantages of a rent replacement strategy. What about the free profits in equity for a monthly payment that you already pay a portion of right now and you get nothing for it? And then, of course, the other great upside, the fact that a mortgage payment, when you use it like this, it actually works as a forced savings account. Make sure you understand the not just short-term, every 30 days difference, because that's what people do. They just think, $1,000 more a month. I'm going to be toast. No. Think about long-term and how does this work for you? Okay, last question they asked. We're also going to be planning to apply his yearly bonus and our tax refund to the principal over the next 2 years to try to get rid of the PMI. Eventually, we're going to refinance as well when the time is right. Is this the best financial move? So my answer, you know it, can't answer because I don't know your full story. So here's just an example. I don't know if this is right for them, and I don't know if it's right for you, but I had an interview. I talked to this guy named Deshaun, and Deshaun is so dope. He bought a home with a unicorn team, and actually I think I turned off the mic and we started talking right after the interview. Now, I just closed on the home and hadn't made his first mortgage payment yet, but he said that he was really excited about some stuff that he read about paying bi-monthly. It's 2 times a month. Bi-monthly and bi-weekly mean like multiple different things, and I hate it. I hate those terms because they're confusing. So instead of paying every 30 days, he was going to pay every 2 weeks and then work out a way to pay 1 extra payment a year. And he was going to do this because he read that this reduces your principal on your loan. And of course, that sounds like a great solid plan. So when I was talking to him, I was like, yeah, that's real. That's legit. It will reduce your principal. But my friend, why are you doing that? Now, when he answered that question, that's where I got all the information. And he was doing it so that he could reduce his principal so he could have more equity, because this was not their forever home. He was going to buy this home and then buy another home later. And so he wanted to get as much equity as he could. So when he told me that, I went, all right, I've got probably multiple ideas, but here's one I have just off the top of my head right now. Let's discuss a way to keep your first home when you buy your second home. Then you're going to have a rental source for years to come. I mean, you'll be making monopoly money, land baron with the monocle and everything. Now, I really want all the homies to hear the advice that I gave, because I don't know if this works for you, but it worked for Deshaun. If this plan is something that you haven't thought about for your overall life and financial goals, then open your eyes and your ear holes to the idea of keeping that first home. Real estate grows the longer that you have it, and you only buy that first home once, and the time that can exponentially grow into massive amounts of money. So here's a thought. Leverage the crap out of that first home. Pay the minimums on it. If it's not your forever home, that's fine. So instead of paying the extra payments to reduce your principal in the hopes that you're going to get more equity when you sell it, if you're not selling it, then you can put that money and give it to yourself in the form of a second home down payment fund. Hell, you already learned how to budget like this when you did this for your first home. You created a savings account for your down payment and closing costs. So now, instead of extra loan payments to lower the principal of your first home, set up that down payment savings account so you don't have to sell that first home to buy your second home. Holy crap. Now you own 2 homes in 5 to 7 years, and you are sitting pretty for life. Again, I said it before, the longer you own pieces of real estate, the more profitable they are, and the earlier you can retire. There are options to every question. Here, I'll give you the math for this one. This is just one option, and here's the math. Okay, so if they use a low down payment to buy home number 1, and they pay let's say $3,000 a month. And perhaps the rent is, let's call it $2,500 a month today. All right. They're paying a little bit more because they got a high interest rate, but the home could rent for $2,500 a month. Okay. That $3,000 a month that you pay, that's the highest you'll ever pay. And likely as we go into the rest of the year, the Fed is going to reduce the rate. Inflation's going to get under control. And then you're going to be able to refinance. So let's say that drops your payment to $2,300 a month. Okay. Instead of paying extra on your principal, so you get more equity when you sell the home, keep the home as a rental for life. So instead of paying bi-monthly or, every 2 weeks instead of every 30 days and then one extra payment, if you had done that to reduce your principal, then you'd be looking at about $5,000 of savings a year. So that means in 7 years, you would be $35,000 less on your loan when you went to sell your house, which is $35,000 more that you would have. So if you sell the place, you get more equity on a down payment, but then that's it. That home is gone and the clock is gone on it. Because remember, the more time, the more money you make. And you take all that equity, you drop it in your new home, and it just sits there with you really not being able to touch it while you wait 15 or 30 years to pay off your new loan. So if you can save that $35,000 instead in a down payment savings account to buy your new home, and remember this, if you need more than that, you can probably use a home equity line of credit because your homes have gone up to get you some more cash. And then you can still keep home number one, which in 7 years, let's say the rent's $4,000 a month? Because rents keep going up. We all know that. And you're locked in at that new refinance payment of, $2,300 a month on home number one. So you're going to be profiting every single month. And I'm not going to say you're going to be profiting $1,700 a month because that's just the first year. Remember, you're going to raise the rent every single year. So it's going to be $1,700 for the first month or two, and maybe, $1,900 for year 3 and 4, and then $2,100 for year 5. You see what I'm saying? So what if you did this then? What if you took the profit that you make every single month and that becomes your extra payment on home number 2 to reduce the principal there? So that means now you're in your forever home, but you're reducing the principal on that home, which is what you really want to do so that you can be mortgage free years earlier. But wait, there's even more. And then what happens if in 10 years of using that extra rent profit to pay down the principal on home number 2, you've got that principal way down, you're only 17 years out from your initial purchase, and now you decide, hey, the market's right, let's sell the first home and put all that equity to wipe out all the principal left on this home, and bam, 17 years from when you bought your first home, you're living in home number 2, mortgage free. That's incredible. If you didn't understand it, rewind, go back, listen to it again, and understand. I don't know if that's your best option. Maybe you want to buy multiple homes out of a whole different thing. Maybe I could talk even faster and explain to you, oh my God, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. I don't know if that's your best plan. And there should never be a system that anyone follows. That was system in big quotes. And that's because there are many, many options in something this financially complex. This is just one single choice. Too many people are looking for that one answer, getting into someone else's system and never realizing the financial freedom that could be a part of their life. I know, I see it all the time on social media and online for people advertising. Hey, want to hack your mortgage payment? Here's your trick. This is the best way to buy and own real estate. No. For who? Who is it the best way? For whose dreams, whose goals, and whose life choices? The options truly are endless, which is why choosing your support team at the very beginning, that's going to make all the difference for you. So homies, here's the moral of this episode. And fittingly, it's in the form of a question. How do you tell if a realtor or a lender is a donkey or a unicorn? Well, when you ask a donkey a question, they give you one answer. When you ask a unicorn a question, they have several options of answers. And to know which of those several options is the best answer for you, they ask you a ton of questions. Which one of those options fits you best will be based on your answers for everything that you're looking for in your long-term financial and quality of life plans. Homies, anyone can give you an answer to show you that you are eligible. Yes, you can buy a home. That answer is simple. But the goal with a rent replacement strategy isn't just to tell you, yep, you can get a home because you should. And owning a home is awesome and that's how you get rich. No, if you really want to set yourself up for long-term financial freedom with this very, very first purchase, understanding all the options that you have today today and how they will affect you for your options tomorrow, that's how you figure out the best thing to do today. Instead of just looking for that one clean, simple, everyone should buy a home this way. Wish that worked that way. But guys, everybody's different. I don't know. Some of you out there, maybe you want to ball out and go big. And the reason for that is because we're all different. I don't know, y'all. I talk to every single first-time buyer, find out, okay, wait, you want to ball out and go big right now? Cool. Or you find out that after you share all the options with a first-time home buyer, they decide, you know what? Maybe we should live conservatively now in our 20s and our 30s and then retire at 45 years old with maybe multiple homes. But how you structure this first purchase, that's going to affect what you can do later. So if your advisor doesn't have several answers and several options for each of your questions, then that's a jackass. Oops, sorry, I meant a donkey. Let's try to keep it positive, right? Positive. But for you to really open the options, it's simple. You have to just have an open mind and seek more than just the one, what should I do answer. Instead of what should I do, ask what can I do and how will these options affect me in the future? There are no hard and fast formulas. You're all different. In giving this answer today, I know I came from a place of love I really am and was giving the best advice that I could, but it did make me think and wonder a little bit, have I not been clear enough in the podcast? Maybe all my talk of educating and empowering you has emboldened you to think that the revolution that I'm trying to start here is to make you so smart about the home buying process that you go into the process armed with all the answers, and then you just hire a team to help you find a home and get a loan. So if that's what happened, that's my bad. So let me see what I can do to clarify. The answers are endless. This is a Pandora's box of answers, and maybe I haven't explained the revolution exactly the way I should. Let's get some clarity. When it comes to you and your best home buying strategy, the best first-time home buyer experts are going to have multiple paths to get you getting your keys to your first home. If you're looking for the answer to your questions, go ahead. Research the hell out of it first. Get the gist of how this whole thing works. It's good to know some of the options before you hear all of the options. But as soon as you can, connect with a full real estate support team. Start your plan, go over all the options, months, even years ahead of time, and then together with everyone's knowledge, you can choose the best option for your personal best plan, whatever that may be. Homies, I've done this thousands of times. And there are some times when there are certain paths, several different first-time homebuyers that we work with follow. But I can't tell you how many times it feels like a whole different transaction every single time. When I work with a first-time homebuyer, if I work with someone next week, I guarantee you there will be differences in that deal that I've never done before. There's going to be something different every single time. The answer to every single question is it depends. And of course, a lot of that has to do with current market status. What's happening out there? How do we use different options to buy a home in this crazy market? So let's explore all the options for you and see what's best for you and your goals. So if you want to get started, get a unicorn team today, go to howtobuyahome.com and ask for a freaking unicorn to learn all your options. I only touched on a few of the wealth building strategies, and that was just some for this one particular home purchase. If you're coming in with different things to the table, which you all are, you're going to have different options, different house hacks, different tips and tricks. It's a new world, a new economy. So lean into them. Use your unicorn team to help you leverage your rent replacement strategy so you can do more than just survive in these new crazy economic times. You don't want to survive, you want to thrive. All right, so that was the story. So what happened? Cool thing is I have the answer right here. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to these guys. This is the correspondence that I just got on March 25th. It said, "Thank you so much for keeping my email anonymous. I really appreciated that." That was the first thing they said. So now I'm going to reveal who they are. I'm kidding. I'm not. Back to what they wrote to me. "I just wanted to update you after your episode. We ended up closing on our beautiful home in the fall at a purchase price of $650,000. It's a beautiful mid-level ranch with a beautiful fenced-in backyard, lots of greenery and privacy. We won the bidding war thanks to your advice regarding the appraisal gap." Okay, I'm going off the email right now, and I'm just telling you, homies, directly. If you want to know more about how to use the appraisal gap, check the show notes for a 3-part series that's called How to Win a Bidding War. And I'm pretty sure I talked about that in the last episode too. Okay, back to the email. "Additionally, we had our lender put in a good word for us." Okay, this is me again. This is something that I talk about all the time on the show. Having a killer lender who's experienced not just at punching the numbers in and getting you a loan, but it's also a full-service unicorn-style lender who knows what it takes to help you win a bidding war. That's awesome. And I do want you guys to know this wasn't an actual unicorn lender that's part of Unicorn Nation. They just listened to everything I told them in 244 and made sure they had the right team. Okay, let's get back to the email to find out more about picking the right lender. They said this: we ended up choosing the lender with the best terms, not just the best rate, as you mentioned. The closing costs were cheaper than the others, and this lender will cover our refinance fees for about $2,000, which we made sure that they included in the contract. The other lenders were going to charge us a lot more to refinance. Okay, it's me again. If there's one thing that I can pound into your ear holes, do not shop for your lender based on just the rates. Don't do it. The home loan, the rate, it truly is only one financial factor in how much you're going to pay for the entire home. And the service that you get, that is a gigantic piece that could save you tons of money because you're going to understand the options. But fine, you don't want to believe that? Cool. Then know this. You're not just looking at the rate. You're looking at the loan terms. The terms matter. Shopping just rates is a great way to get burned. Okay, back to the email. When we started, our interest rate was 7.25%, but we locked in around 6.3%. Okay, this is me again. Now, for those of you who don't know, locked in, that's not something real estate people have started to say because they're trying to be cool. My freshman in college says him and his buddies are locked in about 7,000 times a day, along with everything's low key. But that's another story. A loan lock or getting locked in at a rate is part of the loan process. Okay, so anyway, back to the email. When we started, our interest rate was 7.25%, but we locked in around 6.3%. Although we had over 20% to put down, we ended up just putting 5% down because the PMI was only $90 per month, exclamation point. We decided to keep our money in investments and watch it grow, smiley face. We're going to decide later on what to do with the money. And since I'm not on the loan, the possibility of me purchasing another place down the line is an option. I'm eventually going to go back to full time in a few years. So that means that she's going to have enough income to qualify. Her credit was, she said, the credit was at 720 just because of the credit usage, but that was quickly fixed after a few months and it's gone up. Again, gang, there's like 5 different tips just in that paragraph. Locking in your interest rate, 20% versus 5% and having only a $90 PMI and figuring out that math. Seeing your home payment as diversification of your investment portfolio. Buying with a partner and the strategies with that, working on your credit score, and planning for the future with more purchases now that you comprehend and have been through the whole process where you feel like you actually got the education. Wait, that was 6 tips. Sorry. Back to the email. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you. Your guidance really helped us. I listen to you all the time and I recommend your podcast to others. Our kids are so happy in our new home as well. It was in excellent condition and the sellers and I all cried happy tears together at the closing. Well, how's that for a happy ending? That's freaking awesome. I love it. They reached out and I was able to give them, the coaching that they needed to hear, make sure that they could avoid the horror stories that they thought might be happening for them. And part of this coaching is to help you find the crazy beneficial options that you don't even know are out there. Check the show notes for episodes that are going to go deeper into the home buying tips that we touched on in this episode, like the credit scores, the bidding wars, and PMI, using that as a tactical strategy, especially when you're thinking investment-wise. And hey, share this story with your friends. This is so cool. We had the questions and then we had the actual answers when they followed the advice. As you know, the mission here on the podcast is to start a revolution. I want to get education and empowerment for first-time homebuyers who have been overlooked, ignored, and disrespected. And I want you to get experienced minds in real estate and in lending working with you instead of being ignored and disrespected. Viva la révolution! Now, if you've got a question about your particular situation, go to howtobuyahome.com, click Ask David, and ask me a question. Because as you can see, with the right guidance, you can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyahome.com to get started.